Hello you guys and welcome to my channel. This is the Crime with Kylie podcast, but I really just want to hop on here and give you guys all of the updates so far on the two missing siblings in Nova Scotia, Canada. If you've been watching the news at all lately, then you probably know their names, Lily and Jack Sullivan, ages 6 and 4 years old. On May 2nd, Friday morning, that was the last time that they were seen. Well, kind of. That's allegedly the last time that they were seen. Apparently, Lily had been sick, so they had been keeping them both home from school. A teacher reported to last seeing the siblings on the Monday prior. That would have been, I believe, April 26th or 28th. Now, this episode is not meant to put blame on anyone. There are no suspects. There are no clear signs of abduction or foul play yet. So to give you guys an idea on how the siblings live, where they live, their mother is Maleha Brooks Murray, and their stepfather is Daniel Martell. They live in a trailer home with, I don't know if it's with just one other sibling who the stepfather and the mother are the biological parents of. I know for a fact that they have a 1-year-old together, but apparently there were 5 children altogether. Unknown if the 2 other ones are older or if they live in the trailer home, that has not been confirmed yet. As for their biological father, there have been several online speculations about him, but I have not confirmed anything. Some of the speculations say that he just lives very far away from the children because some people are like, well, maybe their father took them and they're living with him somewhere, and others say that he is in jail. But like I said, both of those things are currently unverified information. So this trailer home is in Lansdowne Station, I believe. If I'm wrong on that, please feel free to correct me. And it's this property that kind of sits on a little hill. You go down the road, and then there's big, dense forest basically all around. And like I said, the children had apparently not been in school all week with the exception of Monday, according to a teacher, but the parents, the stepfather and mother, said all week. So that could have just been a mistake because it was the majority of the week, but who knows? That has raised some red flags because if the children weren't at Salt Springs Elementary School all week, who else would have seen them and been the last ones to see them aside from the stepdad and the mom? This has given some people the impression that they could have been missing and could be missing for much longer than a week, because on the day that I'm recording this, I believe it's May 7th of 2025. No, May 9th. May 9th of 2025. It has been 7 days since they have officially been reported missing. So it was Friday morning around 10 a.m. that the 911 call came in to report them missing. Their mother made that call. But before that, according to the mom, and we will have her interview in here too, she was laying in bed with Daniel, kind of falling in and out of sleep, and apparently they heard Lily and Jack playing in the other room. So this wall right here, let's just say I'm sleeping, and the kids are making noise in the next room over, and she's dozing in and out of sleep, and apparently they go at some point and feed the 1-year-old baby together, Daniel and the mother, and then suddenly, when she kind of goes back into consciousness, suddenly it's silent. There's no sounds of kid noises. There's no sounds of toys, there's no sounds of chatter, and they immediately assumed that the kids had opened the sliding glass door of the trailer, and apparently that doesn't make noise. So this is all their assumption, and they just must have gone and wandered off the property. And this gives me at least the impression that they didn't see them, because there's not this verification that they were outside, that they opened the glass door on their own. No one actually saw or heard it exactly.
They happened to just get out that sliding door and we can't hear it when it opens. And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time. And the next thing we knew, it was quiet, and we get up and I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, do you hear the kids? And he says, no. And we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. And I instantly just call 911. I just had the instinct I needed to call.
It was just 1 second, noise chattering in the other room, the next, dead silence. So the only thing that we can kind of assume made this story plausible that the children just wandered off of the property is apparently there was a singular children's boot print at like the base of the property.
There was at one point a possible footprint identified, and based on that, the searchers have now started doing grid searches around that area just to expand to see if there's anything from that.
And that's it. But they didn't exactly see what they were wearing. So I don't exactly know how in this next clip the stepfather describes what they would have been wearing. Maybe it's because those clothing items and the backpack were missing. That's entirely plausible. We do know that Jack, the youngest 4-year-old, was wearing a pull-up. That pull-up would get very soggy very quickly. If you are a parent, you know this. Those diapers and those pull-ups do not last long, especially out in the elements. So you would think that by now, day 7, you'd at least find that pull-up, like a diaper just somewhere. That has still not been found.
Took their boots. That's pink boots for Lily, blue boots for Jack with dinosaurs on them. Lily had her backpack with white, and it was white with strawberries on it. I imagine now if they're in the woods that it'd be probably brown, but I don't see them carrying their backpack. I don't see them keeping a pull-up on for that long after it got soaked from the very first day. We only found the 2 boot tracks outside of the house.
Whereabouts?
Right beside the house, probably 10 feet away from the backyard.
In the backyard, okay.
Nothing new, other than the helicopters are still in the air, and they had dogs. They took around the dogs today, and as of last night, they had 8 more drones going up with infrared. I urge the public to come out if you have anything, come out as fast as possible and get it to any detachment or any police service that you have available to get to talk to. And Jack just absolutely loves bugs, dinosaurs, and anything like that. But Lily loves girly things, but she also loves doing everything with Jack, bugs. They're like best friends, not just brother and sister.
Now, this piece of information about the siblings, I've only seen it in 1 to 2 news sources personally, so I don't know how true it is because this seems like a really, really young diagnosis. And also, the behaviors that the mother describes doesn't necessarily align with this information, at least in my opinion, with an autistic nephew myself. But 2 news sources have claimed that both children, Lily and Jack, 4 and 6, are autistic. Now, obviously that can mean different things for different kids. Personally, in my experience, it's a lot of avoiding eye contact, very specific behaviors, and not a lot of talking. But their mother said in an interview, once again, that they will talk to anyone in a store. I don't know why she specifically said store. Maybe that's one of the very few places that they go out together. I totally understand that. My own daughter does that. She says hi, tries to talk to any stranger. She's just comfortable doing that. So that's a very normal kid thing to do, in my opinion. And she just said that they're chatterboxes. She kind of reiterates 3 times that they talk a lot. So this, I think she might have mentioned, and this is all speculation, because they would have talked to a stranger, is I believe what she's implying. So them being abducted, if they potentially walked off the property, could be a possibility.
Search effort going on right now. But we've been pushing for an Amber Alert, which hasn't been issued. Not just that they could possibly be abducted, which it is a possibility that they could have been, but just an alert to let everyone know that they are missing. We had people text me saying that they weren't aware, someone else let them know that they were missing, and it would just be nice if everyone could be alerted. We thought maybe that we found tracks, but it's still uncertain. It's been raining and they're probably soaking wet, but with the sun today, I'm hopeful that they are feeling warm. We're all filled with pain and sorrow because we just want them found. We want them home. Everyone loves them. They are definitely verbal, and they do have possible autism, but it's not extreme autism. It's just they have issues with school, and they don't catch up with the other kids. I just want to remain hopeful. But there's always, in a mother's mind, you're always thinking the worst. Last night was one of the worst nights because I didn't have them in their beds. And I don't want to go through that another night without them.
There's that information. So possibly children who might be autistic, they might need some more help than other kids, wandered off of a property by themselves. And apparently, according to mom and stepdad, it could not have been more than 20 minutes from them hearing the children chattering to waking up, getting out of bed, and suddenly both children are just gone. And I don't know about you guys, but if you've been around kids, you know that they can't really get that far on their own. Even in a densely wooded area, at least for me, my 3.5-year-old cannot walk a mile even. It's just not possible. They will get tired, they fall over. I mean, I try to make her take 3 steps and she's like, no, pick me up. So that part of it, the 20 minutes, I'm like, how far could they have actually gotten? And of course the forest is very dense, but since they made the 911 call, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police have been sending out drones, they've been sending out search dogs, search teams. They did a very expansive search, and even the stepdad, and I don't know if this is weird or if it's truly just a matter of concern, it could just be a matter of concern, asked them to check the borders and check near the airports, so that way, no one's trying to get them into, New Brunswick. I probably butchered that, I'm so sorry, I'm American. And so that way no one tries to, smuggle them out of the province, essentially. That could totally just be concern. That's a valid concern. They have had a very expansive search for the past 6 days. However, yesterday they made an announcement that they are scaling back the search. They're not giving up on the search, but they are going to research very specific 2.2 mile radius areas for the siblings or any evidence, because still, day 7, not a singular boot, diaper, clothing item, hair has been found. No evidence so far. And nothing that suggests abduction. Both parents have suggested abduction, but the police have not found any evidence of that, hence why there has not been an emergency alert sent out for these 2 siblings. Just like in the United States, we have Amber Alerts. The mom actually used the term, I don't know why there hasn't been an Amber Alert out yet, but they're Canadian and they don't have Amber Alerts. But I do know they have something very similar. But once again, just like here in the US, you need to meet a very specific criteria. There needs to be a car, a license plate, a person of interest, a surveillance footage, something. However, as a parent, and because it's day 7, my personal opinion is there should be an emergency alert, at least just sent out to people's phones saying, there's these 2 missing kids, here's what they look like, here's where they were last seen. The forest, I believe, is Peak 2 forest. It's very dense from what I've seen, and it does spread around the trailer home. So there's a possibility that they are lost in the woods, but there's also the possibility that they've been abducted, and then a third possibility that I'm sure a lot of people have thought of already, but no one really wants to be true, is maybe this was a family matter. Maybe there was an accident that needed to be covered up. Maybe they did something to them. Something could have happened, because it is sadly suspicious that they were out of school for almost an entire week and then reported missing. And it doesn't seem like anyone else, any other verified person aside from the mom and stepdad, have seen them since that Monday. So, but like I said, that's not been verified. That is possibly worst case scenario, right next to being abducted. But yeah, you can't help but to think that, because it's been so long and nothing has been found. And these are very young children. They probably can't walk far, they can't run far. You would think if they saw someone, they'd ask for help or to get back to their mom and dad. it's all just very sad. At the end of the day, my hope with all missing people is that they're found alive, and they're found safe. But having seen and researched other missing children's cases, my gut feeling is not the best right now. I still hope for the best, but it just sits really uneasy with me, especially since the stepdad's interview, and he did do another interview just like yesterday saying that he doesn't like how people are assuming that he had something to do with it. But it's because in one of his interviews, when he was describing what they were wearing and what they're like, he starts talking about them in past tense. Lily loved girly things, and he says that Jack loved insects and dinosaurs, and Lily was wearing a backpack that was white, but it's probably dirty by now, which is a kind of a weird, in my opinion, a weird thing to bring up. I don't know if I would necessarily be like, oh, it's probably coated in dirt right now. That's just a weird thing to say in general, in my opinion. But like I said, I'm about to shut up, and I will put the interviews and the police announcements, those press conferences, in this video for all of you to make your own assumptions and get an idea of what the mom and the stepdad are like. So those are the updates so far. 2.2 mile radius, the search is being scaled back, but they are still going to be looking avidly for Lily and Jack Sullivan, and I really do hope they're found.
As any police officer, not just major crime, we will look at all the details and make considerations on the information we have, right? When it comes to a missing person, we have to automatically consider are there people that have different charter implications and things like that? So we will automatically start to consider what evidence is pointing us towards a suspicious in nature. Again, I can't comment more than that, but every missing person case, we would approach it from the same process, a methodical collection and review of information with decisions based on that.
And a number of factors would have to take consideration, and they would, based upon scientific information that they have, to deem when that time has to come, and that is now. And a lot of those factors come into play would be the age of the missing persons, the weather, how long it's been, what area has been covered. So at that point, they have to make a decision on that.
I'm still holding out hope. I don't know why they didn't find anything from Jack's pull-up to her backpack or any of her belongings at all. They just haven't found anything.